Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 153. It's Iliya here, and as always I'm really happy to welcome you on the Trading Fanatic channel. It's been a while since I posted. I'm really sorry for that, but I took a little bit of time off. I will travel to around 4 countries for around a week and visiting some family, helping up with some renovations, and visiting some friends and all of that stuff. So I definitely needed some time off to just refresh and just see some people that I haven't seen for years. And I had an amazing time, made some amazing memories, and actually I'm going to be traveling more, but I'm going to have this week to actually focus on trading. So of course, back at it, let's see how the market developed this week, what kind of opportunities we had, and what we can expect for the upcoming week, which is the most important part. I'm currently working on a revamp of my course and community, so this is currently my focus. And of course, after a couple of weeks or even months, I'm going to be starting to publish more YouTube content. This is going to be the focus shift after I finish what is currently most important. So yes, without further ado, of course, make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss all the future updates that are going to be incoming. And let's actually have a look what the Forex and the stock markets are doing. Alright, as always, we're gonna get started with our analysis from the Dixie, but before we do that, shout out to an amazing broker that is cedarforex.com. They have all the currency pairs, all the instruments, stocks, cryptos, and everything with low spreads. And they also have an eco account. So if you pick their eco account, you're going to pay a little bit of commission, but every single lot that you trade will go towards planting 10 trees. They also follow up on their processes on their website. So make sure to visit them. Link is down in the description. Sign up and let's join the first eco broker. Apart from that, I want to say that the echo is a little bit big where I am right now, and I'm not with my nice mic, so please excuse me for that. But of course, the content is that matters, so let's not care about the voice quality. So Dixie, on the weekly timeframes, what we can see is that we had 2 amazing weeks. So the week of the 6th of June was a massive bullish engulfing candle. Then the next week we had a nice continuation, taking out the high and potentially creating a new higher high on a lower time frame than the weekly. And this week we pretty much closed as an inside bar, right? Which is great because next week we can potentially expect a breakout, right? What I keep telling you about inside bars is that you take the high, you take the low of the mother candle, which is this one, and potentially the following week or the following day, depending on which time frame you're looking at, you can expect a potential breakout, right? So to give you a little bit of a context, we had the highest interest rate hike, I think, since quite a few years. I'm not entirely sure, but the Fed hiked their rates to 1.75%, right? So this is usually pretty bullish for the dollar, right? Bearish for the stock market. But we can see that their previous rate was 1%, so they hiked it by 75 basis points, which is huge, right? So the dollar is definitely stronger right now. So again, hard time frames suggest bullishness, right? So this is the macro perspective. The dollar should be declining, just basing it on fundamentals. But in terms of the weekly time frame, well, of course, we can drop our range from this low to this high. 50% is right there, so we still have some room to the downside. I would love if we can have a little bit of a bearishness on the dollar because it looks a little bit too extended. So let's see if we can have a pullback, higher low formation, and then a potential continuation. This would be pretty much the perfect scenario. Let's explore the daily. So what we can see from the daily is that actually since creating this higher high, the market pulled back towards 50%. We can see top out right there. But then what we see is that since the 17th of June, which was last week's Friday, on the daily, we just kind of chopped around, right? So this week we did not have much action as we saw on the weekly time frame. It's just a little candle inside bar, bearish candle. How many pips was that? Oh yeah, 100 pips, which is, yeah, little compared to what we had right there, which is kind of 230 pips. But yeah, on the daily, it's not very clean, right? So I still think that the market is not ready to move higher, right? We might go back to take out the liquidity below this low, right? Why? Because this low is the inside bar low and it also failed to cause any structure break. So it probably might become liquidity, right? Of course, to the downside, we have this little daily demand that actually initiated the move higher. Look at all those big candles. So this is where the move actually started. So again, a perfect scenario for me will be a tap right there and then a potential continuation. But of course, this is the daily and I tend to focus more on the 4-hourly time frame. So let's see what is happening right now. So What I also immediately see is a little zone right there that is just above this daily zone. So this one can tap. We can just take out this low that we spoke about, right? Something like this. And then we can potentially start expanding higher, right? So currently what is happening? Well, currently we have bearish structure, although it's not very clean, it is bearish, right? So if you follow it from here, I'm just going to use the brush. We took out the high right there, our high, then the market pulled back, it was still a higher low, then we wicked above, right? And then pretty much we had a break right there, which created this as the lower high. So we have a push, we have a pullback, lower high formation, but then this lower high failed to break this low, right? But technically we're still trading within this range. If I just take it with the other two, the highlighter. So this is our range, right? And everything in between right there is minor structure. So technically we are supposed to attack the low, right? In order to create a lower low, because currently we are in this bearish trend, right? But we know on the weekly and the daily that we are bullish. So anytime this market turns bullish, I will be ready to go long, right? With the big boys. So currently, again, as I said, sellers are in control. Let's drop this supply. So then the market pushed, pulled back, pushed in again. And if we just consider minor structure, we have a break right there. Then we have supply right there. The market respected it. And currently we are just in the middle, right? So if I pose the question, well, what is the market doing right now? Well, it's simply a range, right? So there is our range. So again, we can try to kind of dig deeper into it. We can go to the hourly time frame and say, okay, well, currently, yes, the order flow is bearish. We have this push, we have this pullback, lower high. Currently, the market is trending down. So I'm going to say that short term, this market is bearish. And if I get an opportunity to go short towards this low, I'm going to do it, right? But as long as the market retains below this level, then I'm going to keep shorting. But as soon as we start breaking above, then I'm going to start looking for reversals and then potentially attacking this high right there, right? So again, two targets right now. I really want to see how Monday is going to open, what the sentiment will be, because as I told you in the daily, we're kind of chopped around a little bit. The market is waiting for something. I haven't checked the news for next week, right? But this is how I currently look on the dollar, right? I would love to buy around 103.50, right? Preferably after a break of this low. So then we can see the shift of structure. Or I would love to buy if we actually turn bullish on the 4-hourly time frame, because currently we are bearish, right? Hopefully you also agree. And of course, if from here we just maybe create a little liquidity gap, then we start pushing higher and create something like this, a break of structure, then I'm gonna of course shift bullish and start following the flow towards the highs of 105.80. All right, so that's the Dixie. Kind of not a very clean bias. So let's have a look at EU and then see if we can merge them together. All right, let's have a look at my favorite pair, Mr. Euro USD, starting from the weekly time frame. We did not have much action this week. Again, similar to the DXY, we have a bullish candle. It's not an inside bar because we took out this high right there. This candle also looks gapped. I don't know why, but it's kind of gapped to the upside. But yes, overall, so again, if you ask ourselves, what is the macro time frame doing? It is bearish. And if I just drop the range right there, so from this high, which is the lower high, lower low, look at that. We pulled back precisely to the 50%. We consolidated for a week, and then the next week there was an explosion down, which there was an amazing opportunity right there for shorts, but I wasn't trading that week. And technically right now, we should be headed towards this low, right? Not to say that if I just zoom out a little bit, we're reaching lows of 2016 right now. And potentially if the market is going to seek any liquidity, it is going to be this low, which perfectly resonates with this most recent lower low. So I am just bearish on euro, and I'm going to tell you why as well. So if we just flick the screens pretty quickly, we can see that the Europe still is keeping their rates at zero, which is absurd, right? Inflation in Europe is just growing and the ECB is not taking any action. But if we just look deeper into their last meeting, we see that they intend to rise the ECB interest rates by 25 basis points at its July monetary policy meeting, right? So pretty much we have that little hint that they're going to hike the rates, but until they do, I think that this market is just bearish, right? Comparing that zero interest rate with the 1.75 of the Dixie, then this pair should be plummeting, right? So definitely on the macro, I am bearish. And of course, my target will be this low. Coming in on the daily, We pulled back right there. We can see kind of an accumulation right there, or distribution, I should say. But we also had a shift of the daily. So we broke the high right there. Then we broke the low. It's wicks, but probably on the 4H, it's going to be bodies. Then we pulled back. We held the lower high. Then we went for a little liquidity grab. Probably some sort of news right there, 9th of July. June, I don't remember. And then we had 1, 2, 3 massive bearish days, right? At that time, I thought we were gonna attack the low right there, but we just stopped. We started pulling back, and pretty much what we have right now is 3 massive days to the downside, and then what is it? 8 bars and 10 days of pullback, right? So this just simply signifies that we sellers are in control, right? So what we have right now is a little bit of a liquidity grab just right there. This is something that I was looking at as well. So we took out this high, rejected, and then we started to consolidate again, right? So currently on the daily, yes, we are bearish. I'm all bearish on EU, which means bullish on Dixie. But on Dixie, I expected a little bit of a pullback to the downside. So maybe this is not going to occur if EU starts to drop immediately, right? Because I do think EU kind of collected a little bit of liquidity already, but we also have this zone, which we have similar on the Dixie, which is this one, right? Which hasn't yet been tapped. So great opportunities. We have this push, this pullback, long opportunities right there. There are plenty of opportunities within this range as well. I took a break even on Thursday, and then I took a loss on Friday. I was just like at the end of the week, okay, let's take some trades with 0.25 risk. So I actually ended up losing, which I'm pretty pissed about, because I was like, okay, let's trade, right? But it doesn't matter. But yeah, so as I said, we took out this high, we rejected, but then what happens is that the market fails to take out the low as well, right? So we have demand right there, and supply, we don't really have supply within right there. It is going to be incorrect to mark this as supply. Why? Because it didn't break any structure, right? So currently, if we ask ourselves, right, what is this market doing? It's consolidating, right? And currently, if we also ask, okay, who is in control? Well, it's pretty much bullish, right? We have this push, this pullback, higher low. So pretty much right now, the main range is still this one, right? So this is our main push. This wick worries me because it kind of broke the high, right? Which can create a new range, which is this one, right? But this depends if you take wick as breaks, right? So if you say, okay, this wick, it is above this high, so this is a structure break. So right now my range is this one. Okay, so what am I going to be waiting for? EU is for more confluence, right? I want to see what this market wants to do. Currently, as you can see, since the 23rd of June, we kind of chopped around. The 24th was also chop day, right? And we can see on the hourly, we pushed up, we pulled back. Buyers are still entering right there, and right now we can have some sellers. But as I said, this supply is not valid, right? So again, the best opportunity for me will be if the Dixie actually does this liquidity grab to the downside, which means that EU is going to come in towards this zone, right? And take out another high, which is this one. And then if we start having the shifts, then we can have the bearishness, right? The second scenario will be an immediate shift from here. So if we break and close below this zone, then I'm going to go all in on sales. So any pullback, shorts, right? So this is pretty much my setup on EU, guys. All right, I'm not going to keep it complicated right now. Technically, the market is right now in a range. Weekly is bearish, daily is bearish, 50% pullbacks are achieved. So anytime soon, we should reverse lower. And I shouldn't use such language, should, must, need to, right? I'm all about probabilities. So if this market reverses lower, I'm going to short. If it goes higher, I can long. And then, of course, I'm just going to watch the behavior. And yeah, stay tuned for my Tuesday. Flow with the Markets Tuesday, which I'm going to publish this week. So yeah, this is EU. Let's wait a little bit and let's hope we get that bearish pressure. Let's have a look at Euro Yen, our first Yen pair. Well, pretty much the Yen pairs are still pretty bullish. We have beautiful continuations. What we have last week actually was this very sharp wick to the downside. That kind of actually did the pullback. Because if I take this range right there, the market stopped at the highs, then this week we actually pulled back towards 50%, and right now we're probably headed already, well yeah, we just took it out, right? We just took out the high, right? So pretty much the play on this pair has been completed. And if I drop to the daily, we can see it, right? So this is the power of utilizing hard time frame ranges. From the low to the high, wait for your 50%, there it is, taps, right? And then all you have to do is drop to the lower time frame, wait for the shift, and then we attack the high, okay? So usually after the market takes the liquidity above a high, did it actually take it? yeah, it's probably equal. Let's explore. So the high I'm watching right there, the OHLC values. The high is 255 and then the high right there is 249. So actually it's not a high, right? So we still have the chance for the market continuing higher. Okay, so on the daily, nothing too much to extract except that we have this double top, but I do think we can attack the high just to take it out and then we can initiate a reversal. We have this kind of daily zone that is not very powerful, which might we have on the daily. Yeah, so pretty much this is where the 4 hourly shifted the structure. So there is the break of the low. This was the lower high. This is where we shifted, and after this shift, your task is to catch the longs. Okay, the market did not pull back, but this is a JPY pair. Usually they don't pull back as much, but as you can see on the short side of things, since we shifted right here, we had a short, we had a short, we had a short, right? So 3 shorts to take into 50%, right? And then we actually started expanding into the highs. So again, the question is, what is going to happen next week? Well, what we have right now is slight bit change of structure, right? So we have the market creating a higher high on the voyage, which makes this our higher low, and it got broken, right? So technically right now, this market is supposed to be bearish, and I see a little zone right there within this wick. So yeah, if I take this range, do we have 50%? Nope. Okay. So slightly bit confused on this one on what to expect, because I'm bullish on Euro Yen. I do expect this one to head for 144.50 or just to take out this high right now. But the question is, does it have enough power to just explode from here? Or is it gonna make another bearish leg like this to maybe tap into this daily big sell to buy, right? And then to potentially expand higher. Okay, so this is the main question, and what I see right there is just watching the candles. We have massive candles to the downside and very corrective upside right there. And what we also have right here is pretty flat, just flat price, right? Which is usually liquidity. The market is going to attack this anytime. If we drop to the hourly time frame is also bearish, right? This is the zone that I found out. We can see that we have one just before it. So I don't really want to call any shorts on Euro Yen because I'm bullish on this market. But if we pull back towards this zone, I'm usually going to drop to a lower time frame to see if we can have the shift, to see if the market is going to fail to make any new higher highs. And then potentially we can take a short towards the 50%, right? And of course, from here, if we initiate a bearish pullback, well, even better, because if we initiate a push from here, then wait for the market to tap 50%, wait for the market to tap inside this zone, then drop to a lower time frame, or just wait for the forward to shift bullish and then attack the highs. Okay, so those are my 2 scenarios. I'm not sure if the market can do this, like push straight into the highs, because I also think in terms of liquidity, has it gathered enough liquidity right there in order to break the high? I don't think so, right? So we're either gonna pull back and get a short right there, or are we gonna just start with a short, take out this low, take out this flat price action, and then we can wait for the longs. Okay, so that's Euro Yen. Let me know, for you guys that are trading Euro Yen, what are your thoughts? Let's have a look at the Aussies, starting from AU on the weekly time frame. But before we do that, let's just head for the interest rates charts. We can see that Australia has hiked their rates by, 50 basis points, right? From 0.35 to 0.85, right? So this immediately pushes some bullishness onto the Australian dollar, right? Which we can see already reflecting in price. It's failing to break below the lows, and we printed a kind of a consolidative week, right? But overall, the interest rate of the Fed is still higher. So again, going back to the foundation of Forex, right? It's pretty much a competition between interest rates, right? And usually if you want to carry trade or something like this, you just pick a currency with a high interest rate and the one with a lower or a negative one, like the yen. You just plot a position and you go with it, right? So this pair is overall bearish. What we see on the weekly is that we created this beautiful pullback, right? Again, from the high to the low, 50% was fulfilled. So technically we should be headed towards this lower low. Similar price action to EU, by the way. And what we have right there is, again, another inside bar. So we have the high and we have the low. Let me just do it correctly. And yeah, weekly is bearish. So this is what we can extract from there, dropping onto the daily. And yes, we can see, look at that, look at this big push, right? And look at this corrective price, right? So what I don't like is that we actually, yeah, we did not close above, but yes, we wicked, which could have confused a lot of people, right? So, break of structure, we might head it for a higher level, but no, we just took out this as liquidity and then we just launched to the downside, okay? So the most recent range from the daily, I would take, yeah, either from this high or from here, which is where the move started, to the downside. And what we see is that we already pulled back towards 50%. So pretty much this market is bearish on the weekly, bearish on the daily. So what we can expect shorts, right? Then dropping onto the 4-hourly time frame. The 4-hourly is also bearish actually, because if we follow price, I'm just gonna do it with the brush. So the market shifted the structure here to bullish, pullback, potential long, which is a counter trend. We create a higher high, right? Pull back towards 50%. So this is a higher high, then boom, lower low, right? So since this, we shifted the structure to bearish. Then we pull back, consolidate, new lower low, right? So our new structure is here, right? So currently we're trading within this range. So if I just, yeah, well, technically we also broke here, which is not nice. So we broke right there, which makes this our main range, and then it actually got taken out. So what we have right now is a bit of a trickiness on the Aussie, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this guy right there, because according to me, this is really the main leg. Yes, this one right here broke structure, but it's not very significant. And I do think right now this one is being utilized as liquidity to tap into this supply and then to flush. Okay, so I am bearish on the Aussie, right? There is no way I can say that this is bullish, right? Some other pairs are suggesting a little bit of bullishness, but Aussie is bearish on weekly, daily, and 4H, right? So let's try to get into shorts. Right now, probably the hourly and the 50-minute are slightly bit bullish. So what I'm going to be waiting for is for the market to show me the bearish intent, right? Which can happen on Monday or on Tuesday. We can have maybe another spike into the highs. Then if we start shifting the structure, then definitely shorts. I just saw on the 50-minute that we're kind of starting to shift a little bit. So if the market starts with some massive selling pressure and starts printing bearish structure, then definitely short it, right? So Aussie, bearish. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. This is more than enough. So if you get any short opportunities, those are the high probability one. Attacking the low right there of 78.50, and then potentially also the weekly low, which is staying in right there. So a lot of sell targets. Let's have a look at AJ. Should be more bullish. Yeah, well, yeah, this one took out the high right there. So if we take our weekly range, we just ticked 50% actually last week. We tagged it right there with this wick, and then we pushed up, and then we pushed down. So this one is tricky. Yeah, this one is tricky. So if I drop to the 4H, it's definitely, oh man, this is tough price. So let's try to read it. Take the brush. So broke the low here, we turned kind of bullish, but then it just kind of tapped into this drop base drop, right? So then we made a new lower low, perfect. But then we went all the way up, kind of breaking structure, which turns a bit bullish. But let's say it turned bullish, then our major high low should have been right here. This one got broken, we pulled back, it created a lower high, then it broke down again. So this is our trend change, this is our structure break. So right now we have this extreme supply, and then we have this middle supply right there. I can maybe take it like this, but it becomes too little. So, well, AJ is bearish right now. So if I just focus on the 4H, well, weekly is kind of bullish, daily is also bullish, right? But this is because it's a yen pair. 4-hourly time frame is right now bearish, right? Technically, we're bearish. We can head towards breaking this low, not to say this one as well. If we have a look at the most recent range, we are already above 50%. If we take it from the high, we also tap 50%. So again, will this pull back a little bit more and then start shifting towards going short, or is it gonna shift right now? Well, monitor the 15-minute or the hourly time frame, wait for the market to turn bearish, and then let's short it. Okay, so AJ, although being a JPY pair, which are mostly bullish, I am bearish on this one. So yeah, this is how I think of it, this is how I view it. So let me know what you guys think, but overall the Aussies are bearish, so let's see if we can short them the upcoming week. Next on the list are the NZDs, which pretty much go together with the Aussies, but we have a slight bit of a difference right there. So the NZD actually took out the low right there the previous week, and again this week it's printing out a very nice indecision candle, also an inside bar. So this is what we can explore from the weekly. I usually don't go too much on the left. This is 2020. This is not too far back in time, but this is a potential demand that we can be looking to trade towards, which is 0.61. But yes, after right now fulfilling this range, if we drop to the daily, we have a brand new range, right? So it starts from the high to the low. And what we have again is a 50% pullback, right? So the question is, once you have that 50% pullback, is you ask yourself, has enough liquidity being gathered in order to make another move lower, right? Looking at the correctiveness of price, so we pulled back very bullishly and then we just started up, down. It's not impulsive to the downside, which makes me think it's gonna seek something, right? But what we have is this drop-based drop right there, very nice supply into 50%. It got tapped, responded, but let's actually follow up the structure. It was bullish from here, but then what happens is that the market pushes, tries to make a new high, fails, pushes again, fails, and then it shifts, right? So it breaks this one, it breaks also that one, which introduces the sellers into the market. And right now we have this supply, right, that actually caused the break of structure. So the NZD also looks bearish, and also the weekly and the daily are supporting it. What I really love about this one is the daily is that we have this range that we already pulled back towards 50%, right? And right now also the volatility time frame is starting to align with this bearish daily bias. Okay, so similar to the Aussie, if you start seeing a bearish shift from there, then just go short, right? We can have another expansion into the highs, and then we can shift in between the range, right? Then again go short. As for longs, I don't know. Those pairs look pretty bearish to me. Look at that corrective price action. It's already building up liquidity, taking it out, right? So drop to the hourly time frame. Wait maybe for at least for an hourly shift, which is going to be right there, or wait for a new structure to form like this, and then wait for a new break right here. So something like this, or yeah, then should be like that, for example, if this one makes a high, and yeah, then wait for the flow to turn bearish and then start shorting it, right? Right now we're kind of in this corrective price action, which is minor structure, but it's bearish. So you also have to wait for this one to align bearish. Sorry, this is bullish. So we have to wait for it to align to bearish, and then we can start shorting it. So let's have a look at NJ. Should be more bullish again. Tricky price on those JPYs right now, like wick up, wick down, wick up, right? So it's kind of indecisive. On the daily time frame, it's also pretty tricky because we have this push right there, but this push failed to make a new high, right? So that's the problem. Right now we have a double top. How can we read this one? Well, honestly, I don't know, right? So there are multiple ways to look at it. So we failed to break above, which means that we might go lower, but the structure is still bullish, right? The daily range is this with top 50%, so the market can actually be heading higher. So when I actually confuse myself, I just go back to the 4-hour time frame and ask myself, what is the market doing right now? Okay, so we shifted bullish, we tried to push, and what did we do is we also failed to make a new high here. So we failed to make it there, we failed to make it here right now. And then if I zoom in, well, my higher low, so this is the high, this is the higher low, so we turned bearish. We pull back already, then we break structure again. So we have two supply areas similar to AJ, I think it was the same. We have that one, and we have this one. I'm gonna take it bigger. This is probably on the 8 hours. Yeah, look at that, 8 hourly, very nice. So yeah, well, again, indecisive a little bit about the JPYs. We can have shorts right from here. Maybe the market is going to utilize this as liquidity for it to come and tap this one, right? If we tap both of those levels, then I would suggest you drop to a lower time frame like the hourly and the 50-minute, and then wait for the market to turn from bullish to bearish, right? So it's going to be bullish, tap inside, turn bearish, then start shorting. Okay. So those are the NZDs. I am overall bearish on both of them. I'm bearish on the Aussies as well. So everything is bearish, right? So let's see if this one is going to play out. Of course, with what is happening currently, we can expect anything, right? So just stay focused, follow the flow, and you cannot go wrong. Let's have a look at the yen. Well, pretty much nothing new, right? We are just continuing to pump to the upside. We had a very brief pullback right there for 3 weeks, and then the next one bullish, right? So it keeps creating higher highs. So yeah, well, currently we are technically at a higher high. We can say that it's overbought. We can say that it's extended. So we can start expecting a pullback, but currently the daily is still bullish, right? And the forward is probably still bullish. So we cannot say that this market is going to reverse, okay? So technically right now, if you focus on the daily, this is the break of structure. So this is your higher low formation, which we can take on the volatility. But yeah, we have this whole sell to buy, right? So it's a big zone. You can, of course, take like the last bearish candle if you want to have this type of demand. But yeah, the JPY is usually confusing me, right? Because it tends to kind of, shift a little bit bearish, then it immediately turns bullish, right? Because right now, technically, right, daily is bullish, but right now the full hourly is shifting a little bit. Why? Because according to me, this right there was the last demand, right? Before like we pull back a little bit, then we push, then we pull back, responded, kind of responded again, wicked again, right? So it's not a very confirmed break. It's not a body close, which I don't like as well. It could just be a liquidity grab for the market to continue higher. This is what I told you, like sometimes it just pulls back. It looks like it shifts the structure to bearish, but then it's when it actually starts to pump higher. Maybe an example could be this one, but this one pretty much actually pulled back towards discount and started dropping. So you see, okay, market is bullish. There we go. We shifted right now. We broke structure, so I'm gonna go short, and then the next moment it creates a higher high, right? So we have a similar situation right there. We're breaking this low. You can say, it's going short. I'm gonna drop this supply and short from there, and it just can blow through the roof. Okay. So I am not trading UJ at all, right? I'm not looking at it, so I'm not really good at it, right? So I would appreciate also some of you that are trading UJ to throw your opinion at me. But yes, currently daily is bullish. So if I solely focus on daily and I can drop this little range right there, 50% hasn't been tapped yet, okay? So we still have some downside potential on this one. And if I take this overall big sell-off and drop the 50% of it, it perfectly aligns with this demand zone, all right? So we definitely have more downside to gather more liquidity, to pull back a little bit more, and then to potentially launch the new move higher, okay? Not to say that, again, as I said, the weekly time frame is a bit extended. So can we have maybe a bearish week or two, like something like this? Definitely possible, all right? But with UJ, you just never know, okay? So I'm not going to say anything else. If I'm confused, I just don't trade. And currently I'm confused on this one. We can definitely look for a short. And as we saw on OJPY pairs, all of them are aligning for a little bit of a short, right? EJ, AJ, and NJ. So if UJ also aligns for a little bit of a short, then that will be lovely, all right? But don't go for a short towards the bottom, right? Just go for a short towards this low right there, 50% and maximum this demand area right there, okay? So that's UJ. Let's see if we can have some bearishness, but again, keep in mind, this pair is bullish. Let's analyze the GBPs starting from GU. So again, straight off the bat, this pair is bearish, right? So we have this push, we have this pullback, lower high, lower low. And although it was created with this big wick, right? Probably on the daily, we can have a body close. Yep, there it is. So yes, we are bearish. And if I just scroll back a little bit, well, we're pretty much tapping into this big bearish candle right there. Which is demand, which we can potentially go to explore what is happening on the daily, right? So we can minimize it a little bit like this. We know that this right here was liquidity, right? But it was taken already. So GU has taken lots of liquidity to the downside. It's almost tapping into this demand zone. So can we start turning bullish? Well, I don't think so, right? So what we did is we liquidity grabbed above this high to take it as liquidity. Then what we did is we shifted bearish right there, and then we had this massive sell-off, right? Massive sell-off. So currently this is my supply. This is my lower high as well, major lower high. What we have right now is a range. The market has pulled back already towards 50%, right? So it's ready to be shorted. But also what can happen is that this high right there can be utilized as liquidity in order for the market to pull back and then initiate lower, right? So technically, this will be my perfect setup, which is on the daily. And then dropping onto the 4H, we're like, yep. What is the market doing right now? It is ranging, okay? And it is technically bullish as well. So if we found, okay, where was the last lower high? It was here. So we actually tapped, reacted, massive push, right? So currently our main bullish range is this, right? As long as we remain above this high, we are bullish, okay? And right now we have this kind of range, which is unclear, but it is what it is. So I can call a long from here as well, just basing it on this pullback. But what I don't like is that we are already above 50% in a bearish weekly and daily market. Okay, so taking a long right now is counter trend and is risky. Okay, but we can have a situation like this as well. Okay, or we can have, of course, this setup that is straight taking out this high. Why this high? Because this high is technically a hard high that should be broken, right? So we can have this, tap into the supply, and then we can start expanding lower. Okay, so I'm gonna leave GU at right there, because since the 17th of June, like since 20th of June, we have been just ranging. It looks quite tricky. I haven't checked the news. Maybe something is about to come that is going to shake out the market. I know GU loves to fake and to take liquidity, so I do think that this high can get attacked first before we actually reverse. But of course, just keep following the flow, and if we start trending bearish, then just go with it, right? Because technically, again, we're already bearish. We pull back above 50%. We almost tapped into the supply, not really will react, but it should have flushed already, right? Or it's just building up a range. Maybe we can have like a mini liquidation like this and then a reversal. But those are the two setups that I'm going to be looking for. Okay, so there they are. Let's see what happens and let's just flow with the market. Okay, and stay tuned for Tuesday. GJ, probably more bullish. So we took out the weekly high right there. Then we rejected. We probably created the daily pullback. Yep, there it is. So started from there and then right there. Very deep pullback right there, all the way towards this bearish candle, right? And right now heading higher, potentially again towards making a new high. So are we gonna make this one? Well, we shall see. Then dropping onto the 4H. So yeah, this is the JPYs. I find them really tricky. So we have this supply, the market responded from that supply. And currently, have we changed structure? Let me zoom in. Well, I would take this as my major hard low, because this is kind of where we pull back, consolidate, and then we pushed, then pull back, try to push, fails, then comes back in again, and right now we're... So right now, man, the JPYs are always tricky. We have this push and we have this complex correction, all right? So there is a chance that we're going to attack the high, right, if JPY goes bullish. But there is also what we saw on all JPYs is that they have this kind of shift of structure to bearish, right? So there is also a chance that we might reverse. Again, I'm not trading yen pairs, I'm not trading GJ, so I'm not really in tune with this market. But technically right now we're bullish. Okay, so this is my major range, this is my major high low. So as long as we are above it, we should be bullish, right? But if we pull back and then if we break below this zone, right, or so if we break below this structure and preferably this one, then we are bearish, right? So then we have to wait for a pullback and then continuation lower. Okay. So let me know what you guys think about GJ. I have no opinion actually, and that is perfectly fine. You're not supposed to have an opinion about every chart, because if you then try to force your opinion and say, okay, GJ is bullish, right? Then you just become close-minded and you are going to miss important information that the market provides you. Okay. So I don't have an opinion about this one. Again, technically it's bullish, so buys are high probability. Drop to the 50-minute time frame, maybe wait for a retest down there and then take a long. Okay, that could be a nice setup. But personally, if I was trading this pair, I would give it more time and then of course start flowing with the market. Let's have a quick look on gold. And you know that I'm not an expert on gold, and pretty much right now there is a big battle, right? Battle of sentiments. I'm really not sure where this market is going, because again, technically this high failed to break and we are in this very big range, right? Of course, in between this weekly range, there are plenty of opportunities that you can catch intraday, but according to me, the direction is just unclear, right? If I zoom in more, right, we had this last push into the highs, which is this one. Then we pull back and we are holding from the zone, right? So the market kind of responded, but it failed to cause anything to the upside. And right now we're kind of pulling back and staying in right there, right? So in terms of weekly time frame, I'm like, yeah, the momentum is right now to the downside, and we're in the middle of nowhere in that weekly range. So let's try to drop on the daily. And when I drop to the daily, what I see is bearishness right now. So we kind of shifted the structure a little bit right here. You can say technically this might have been a lower high, so we broke above it, pull back, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high right there. Then we just shifted lower, right? So we broke structure right there. Then this formed supply right here on the daily. And then if I just go to the 40 time frame, yeah, we can see this massive drop. This definitely looks like news. Whipsaw to the downside, whipsaw to the upside, and massive downside pulling back right there. And then it started to roll to the downside, push up. Man, gold is just unclear to me, right? I tried to kind of make a top-down analysis on it, but it just doesn't make sense, right? So let me know what you guys are thinking of gold. I'm pretty much not sure. I think more people will be putting their money into the dollar right now instead of gold. So I am fundamentally bearish on this pair. If I just look on the 4H, well, technically we are bullish right now. Daily is bearish. Hourly, this was the last demand, push, corrective, tapped inside, responded, failed to cause anything. So if we break below this zone right there, right? So if we close below it, then we can unlock some selling potential, and maybe we can attack this low, right? And then I just don't know, right? So let me know what you guys think on gold. I'm not trading this instrument, but currently it looks quite tricky. I know that it forms amazing intraday setups, like catching the high of the day, the low of the day, then trading against it. So this is a great way to be trading gold. But in terms of the directional bias and the overall sentiment, I'm not sure. But fundamentally, if again the Fed is hiking their rates, then the dollar is stronger, more people will be putting into savings accounts as well. So I do think gold right now, in terms of investment point of view, I wouldn't buy gold right now, right? So I do think we can have more sellers rather than buyers on gold. All right, let's wrap it up with some indices. Let's have a look at the stock market and also the crypto market. So we had this beautiful leg to the downside, beautiful buying opportunities, but our stock portfolios were looking pretty red at a time, right? So 30K has been tapped on US30, and again, technically right now we are in a bearish market on the weekly time frame. And again, we have a lot of speeches about recession and stagnation and stagflation and all of that stuff. So I do think we still have more downside potential, right? And this little rebound that we have right now is just a rebound, right? We had a rebound right here, we had a rebound here, we had a rebound right there, right? But at the end of the day, it just keeps falling, okay? So don't get too optimistic about it. Yes, the daily time frame has right now turned bullish, which is great, right? But again, I'm just gonna look at the weekly range and the daily range, which is this one, okay? Quality time frame, bullish indeed. We're just about to tap 50%. We have this little, it's not even an inside ball right there, but I'm gonna be looking towards a deeper pullback before we can start heading lower again, okay? If you wish to take longs, then of course, take them from here, right? Because right now the market has turned bullish, the sentiment has turned a little bit bullish, right? We have a little bit of an optimism kicking in into the market. And yes, on Friday there you can see some nice long opportunities. But yes, overall I am still bearish on US30, and I do think we can have more downside. Did we enter bearish market? I do think so. We're just on the brink of entering bearish market, so I do think we still have more downside. So of course, guys, let's see. But currently the flow has turned a little bit bullish. So if we can manage to catch any longs, then that's fine. Okay. Going to Nasdaq as well. This one continued to extend its losses. This is the weakest instrument due to its tech nature, 34% drop, right? So this is big, right? I'm not going to look on the left because it doesn't make too much sense, but yes, we have this little demand zone right there. Currently, this is our weekly lower high. The market is bearish. If we drop to the daily time frame, we can of course drop our range right there. And yes, we have this bullish momentum, but does that mean that we're turning bullish? Nope. As long as we stay below this zone, we are bearish, okay? So let's see if this is just kind of a liquidity pullback, some profit taking, all right? So then can we potentially pull back towards there, create another kind of consolidation and then start dropping again? Well, that is definitely possible, okay? So I am still bearish on Nasdaq, so let's see how it's gonna go. But again, if you can find any long opportunities on this little bull run that we have towards pulling back towards this level right there, then that's fine, okay? And S&P, if you remember, I have been calling 37 for quite some time, and it tacked, and I bought it from there, and we can immediately see the reaction. So pretty happy with my technical analysis playing out. But yes, again, same story. We are bearish, right? I do expect another drop. I don't want to say it, but 3K is possible, right? Because I utilize some formulas as well. I have some other stuff that I'm doing, and one of my statistics shows that also 3K is possible, right? But I would pretty much love to see 35 to 32 around this area where I'm really gonna buy a lot. So I bought from 37, right now we're pulling back. But yes, so again, technically we are bearish. We have this range, right? We're pulling back, tapping 50%. It's probably profit taking. Again, we had it right here, we had it right there, we had it right there. But at the end of the day, it keeps falling with the overall bearish sentiment. So yes, let's see how it's gonna play out. I'm waiting for the market to pull back towards, let's say, 41, and then from there, let's see if we can have more bearishness. And at any lower low, pretty much my strategy is buying every lower low, right? You shouldn't do this, but of course, this is in terms of the investing point of view, right? So nothing too much to say. I'm curious to see how it's gonna play out. If you manage to catch any longs, then do so, right? I'm personally not doing this, but I do expect more of a run to the upside before we reverse lower. I don't think that this was the bottom, but we never know, right? We never know. Bitcoin, massive drop. Portfolios are looking red. I'm almost at 20k loss, which is not good, but it is what it is. It's my first kind of 2021 was my first like real investment in trading in Bitcoin, so I wasn't actually prepared for that crash. But of course, we'll learn from those mistakes. You have to lose some money in order to learn your lesson. But we're really deeply pulling back right now, and yeah, I'm really not sure, right? Pretty much we just are about to fulfill this wick right there. We can pull back potentially towards this bigger range, right? So we definitely have more downside around 12k. That would be nice on Bitcoin. But yeah, look at those months, right? Boom, 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 massive, bro. So yes, what can I say? Well, it's just bearish, right? So hopefully some of you shorted from right there, and hopefully none of you are buying right now. But yeah, I do think like 17k is a good area to be buying right now. So we're kind of creating this pullback, and just to start dollar cost averaging, right? Not really looking for anything big, but just to start buying as the market is lower. If you of course believe in Bitcoin, but I believe more in stocks, so I prefer to put my money into stocks right now and wait for crypto to turn bullish, so then I can actually start scaling in the uptrend. Okay, so technically this pair is just bearish, right? I do expect more downside on it. So again, if you get any short opportunities, then just go with it, right? And this is currently like a little supply that has been formed. We're just accumulating right now. So yes, don't do anything stupid with those coins. Ethereum as well finally broke down. I was looking for a level like this, I think, right there. Yeah, 17. It got crushed, right? And we are already deep right there. Again, where are we going to come into? Well, if I take this over the range, like 50% is roughly somewhere right there. But yes, we have a massive bearish run right now. So we, again, never know. We never know when it's going to stop. Just dropping it on the daily. Again, we have this similar supply right there. Maybe I can make it a little bit smaller. Maybe we can refine it on the 4H. Yep, something like this. So we are just bearish, and yes, this market can turn a little bit bullish, but that doesn't mean that we have found the bottom and we're going to reverse. Okay, technically right now this is our major lower high. Maybe on the weekly, well, it's not very clean. Maybe on the 8 hourly. No. Okay, daily. Yeah, pretty much on the daily right there. So yes, I'm not really experienced in crypto, but yeah, I'm not buying this until we start seeing the sentiment turn bullish. Okay, so if I just jump on the other screen again, we can see that the fear and greed index, we are starting to slightly ride into the highs, which is why we see the stocks also push up a little bit. We can see 1 week ago and 1 month ago, we were at extreme fear, like 13 and 14. And right now we are at 27, 28, right? So the bar is starting to come in a little bit towards neutral, right? But this is just because we kind of have this little rebound, right? Which I think is soon going to pop again. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna wrap up this weekly outlook, guys. Hopefully you found it valuable. Stay tuned for my Tuesday outlook, and hopefully we can have some amazing opportunities next week. Again, as we spoke, a lot of those pairs are looking bearish, so I'm gonna be looking to flow with the hard time frame analysis and the hard time frame trends, and of course making some good investments, because right now it's the best time to do so. So I wish you an amazing weekend, and I wish you a crushing week ahead of you. Thank you for your patience, and talk to you soon.